Welcome to my video, my first tutorial. Basically, it's cold, it's winter, and as much as I actually enjoy the winter, I'd really like a nice sunrise. Hopefully you've just seen the intro and you've thought, that looks really nice, I'd like to make that too, in which case you're in the right place. This will probably be split across 3 videos, I'd imagine. Maybe 4, depends how terrible I am at communication. So, as you can see, I've got a new Blender project open here. I'm going to set my render engine to Eevee because they'll be quicker to animate. And for this video, there's really not much difference between Eevee and Cycles. Maybe a couple of small settings. I'll go through those at the end in case you do want to do it in Cycles. But there's really no difference when it comes to this project anyway. And then you want to make sure that you have Node Wrangler enabled. If you don't, you want to go up here to Edit and Preferences. And then in the add-on section here, in the search box, you can just type in Node. And you'll have Node Wrangler, just tick that little box and you're good to go. You don't have to reset Blender or anything like that. It's good to go straight away. I've put a link down below the video for the site I got the HDRI image from. And feel free to pick a different one. But I went for, I think it's called Sky 10, but Sky 0010. That's the image we're going to use for this. I'll probably remind you when we get to it. So in this first part, we're just going to set up our basic scene. So without further ado, we're going to press Shift and A. And under Mesh, we're going to add a plane. This can be our ocean. We're going to scale this up by pressing S and 15. Yeah, 15 times the size. That will be sufficient. I'll just change the name to Ocean so I know what we're dealing with. And then what we also want to add is our sun. In this case, it won't be a sunlight. So we'll Shift A, we'll go under Lights. We're going to add an area light. As you can see, it's facing down at the moment, which is not ideal. So we'll press R to rotate. But then we'll press X, so it's locked to the X-axis. And we'll type in -90, so we've turned it -90 degrees on the x-axis. G, so we can move this thing around. And press Y, so it's locked onto the y-axis. And then we'll just move our light to the back of the ocean like that. Lovely. There's a few things we want to change about this light. At the moment it's square. That's not what we want. So if you come over here, you'll have a light properties section. And we'll change this. Shape says square. We want to change that to ellipse. And the size we'll set to, if you just left click on the top one and drag downwards, it will actually change both of these settings. You can just type in 5 there. Now X and Y are set to 5. You can do that for any settings on any menu. And we'll crank that power right up to 5,000. Yes, and you'll see why a bit later. Set our color to a nice orange. Right, so that's pretty much our sun taken care of. This is where our ocean will be, and then we also want to add in. First we'll reposition our camera. So I'm just going to press 1 on the numpad, and that takes us to this front orthographic view, as you can see up here. Then Alt, Control and 0 on the numpad, and you'll move your camera to this front orthographic view. While the camera's selected, we can press G, so we can move it around. Press Z, so we are locked on the Z axis. Just move the camera up slightly. Press G and middle mouse button. In this case, that locks us onto the Y axis, so we can move our camera back and forth, like so. Just move it to the edge here. I'd say we're pretty good there. That looks like a good lineup. So that's the basics of this scene. Now we'll go to our shading tab up here. Open that up. There we go. I'm just going to get rid of these windows to the side because I don't need them. Now, if you haven't got the HDR image from the link below, now's the time to go do it. I assume that's done, and now you're back with us. So what we'll do is here we'll select world. So now we have the nodes for our world here, because if we go to the top right under the shading drop down box, we can activate scene lights and activate scene world, and you'll have this horrible grey sort of drab mess with our sun in the middle. And we want to press Shift and A while we're in our node box. Under texture, we'll add an environment texture. You can hook these up now, color to color, and everything will go purple. There we are. And then open and select where you've got your HDRI texture, where you downloaded it. There's mine, Sky 0010, open image. And there we go, we have our sky. But as you can see straight away, the sun is over there. If we press 0 on the numpad for our camera view, that's not in our camera shot, so we need to change that. This is why we activated the Node Wrangler add-on. So we can select our HDRI image texture here, and press Ctrl and T, and that opens up a texture coordinate and a mapping node. So we want to rotate on the Z-axis. There we are, that's turning our HDRI. So we have our sun there. We'll say, I'll just minus 91.5, type that in. And then we want to get rid of this black strip because it looks ugly. So we'll just raise on the Z-axis by 1. There we are. And our 5 by 5 meter sunlight covers the sun in the HDRI perfectly. So now we actually have our scene set up. What we'll do is we'll just add Shift and A, mesh and a cube, and this will be our fog. This will enable us to see our light as a sunlight. You'll see what I mean. Press S to scale it by 20. So it covers our camera, our ocean, and our sunlight. What we'll do, I'm just going to rename this to volume. Down here where it says world, we want to change that back to object. I'll select the materials over here, and we want to give it a new material. Just going to call it volume. Now we have our material nodes. We'll get rid of principled by selecting with a left click, X to delete, Shift and A, and you've got all these wonderful things. We'll go under shader. We'll add a principled volume. Now here we go. Here's where some of the magic happens. We'll hook the volume up to volume, not surface. A lot of people seem to do that, but we'll hook it up to volume. They do it and then they go, oh, what's going on? I can't see my volumetric light so well, and things are, well, hook the volume to the volume. That's what it's there for. I'll press 0 to go to our camera. You'll see it's just a big dense mess. So our density in the volume shader, 0.01. And then we'll turn this setting right up. You can have it on 1, but then it looks a bit silly. So you want it on 0.995. There we are, you see, and now our light has actually created a lovely sun shape over the HDRI sun. So now the basics of our scene are set. And in the next video, we will do the materials to make our ocean actually look like an ocean. And we'll begin some of the animation, and we'll go on to composition to give it that nice sunrise atmosphere, and colorization, color grading. So yes, if you like that, please like and subscribe. Hopefully you'll be back for part 2, and we'll have a wonderful sunrise at the end of it. So thanks for watching. Cheers.